We're going from one dome to another. The game of the Sky Dome is over. Argos win. The home team in Vancouver would love to get another victory under their belt. 2-1-14 in Game 2 of our doubleheader, the Calgary Stampeders and the BC Lions. Hi again, everybody. Dave Randolph, Chris Schultz, Matt Dunnigan, and Jock Climby. It is 24-8, the final from Toronto. There's a wild game still wrapping up in Hamilton between Saskatchewan and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 28 as it sits right now, under 2 minutes to play. We'll update that one when it becomes final. But the starting quarterbacks for the Game 2 of our doubleheader. Well, we'll tell you about the starting quarterbacks in a moment, but first of all, there are the records of the Calgary Stampeders and the Lions, two teams that know each other fairly well out there in that Western Division, and both desperate for victory tonight. Here are the starting quarterbacks, brought to you by Wendy's, the official hamburger of the CFL, and one of them is very familiar, Damon Allen, who's been taking a lot of criticism lately for his performance and the team's performance, and Marcus Crandall, who was not at a particularly strong start to the season either. Both of them looking to change that tonight. Game 2 on Wendy's CFL Live.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rod Black.
And I'm Neil Lumsden, and both these teams might be desperate. Anxious is a better word. Should make for an intense football game.
Last two teams to win the Grey Cup. Both teams struggling. Kickoff next from BC Place. And here we are in BC Place in beautiful Vancouver. Gorgeous day outside and inside tonight. The Dome. Room temperature, of course, for the second half of our doubleheader Thursday night. Calgary Stampeders and the BC Lions and Wally Buono's team. Only one win so far, the defending Grey Cup champions, with a number of personnel changes this year.
Well, it's something Wally talked about, but he's not going to use as an excuse. And Steve Barato in the same situation. Not as many changes, Rob, but not happy with performance of these players. They're both looking for the right guys, and they're still in search of a lot of players.
And once again, there's talk in BC. If the Lions do not win tonight, Steve Barato's job could be on the line. Remember, a couple of weeks ago, that was the case. The Lions came out with their only victory of the season, but they blew out the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Yeah, they played very well. They were very disciplined. They were criticized early in the season for taking a whack of penalties. They fixed that against Hamilton. They really took it to the Tiger Cats physically, every aspect of the game. That's what they need to do to be competitive.
Matt Kellett with the kick. Kelvin Anderson, Deshaun Austin back. Anderson up to his 40-yard line. And Marcus Crandall, who last week passed for only 91 yards in the win over Saskatchewan. Here's the offense, and of course Travis Moore is back for the Calgary Stampeders. Missed last week, had a problem with a cheekbone fracture, and the offensive line for the Stampeders. Our starting lineup brought to you by Midas. For all your car care needs, Midas, we do that. And what will Marcus Crandall do tonight? 1st and 10 from the Stampeder 40. And a little razzle-dazzle, but Crandall boots it. And the BC Lions have it, and it's still alive. And Carl Kidd picks it up. And a rather auspicious start for the Calgary Stampeders. BC Lions have the football in the red zone.
Well, you hate to have mistakes at any time, but especially early. It looks like they would do the quick pitch and then the reverse, but it wasn't set up well. First to Kelvin Anderson, back to Marcus Crandall. And right here, you see this defense pursue, led by Carl Kidd. Big play to start the game. A bigger play if the Lions can score quickly.
Brent Johnson was in pursuit. Carl Kidd picks it up. I thought for a second there they take it all the way into the end zone. There were no white jerseys around there. So now Damon Allen. And the pass is incomplete. And here is the offense for the BC Lions. Sean Millington, 8 touchdowns this season. Jeroy Simon is one of the threats, of course, for Damon Allen. His passing efficiency rating is down in the lower rankings right now. And the offensive line for the Lions. Second down. And that's Larry Thompson with the catch. Moves it close to the first down marker.
Well, and a great job of defending Larry Thompson right up. You know, when you get a guy like that close in that quick hitch pass, Rod, you've got to face him up and give him the sidelines or turn him back inside. And he does a great job of just not fighting on any of the fakes and any of the jumping by Thompson. Square him up, keep your eyes on his chest. Real good job by Austin here.
It'll be 3rd and 1, and this brings out Matt Kellett. Now, Kellett has not had a field goal attempt since that horrific night against the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah, the pressure was definitely on him, and he's gone a couple of games not having to make an attempt, so he can get the monkey off his back real early from in close.
The monkey has been removed. And the Lions strike first thanks to a turnover. 3-0 Leos early at BC Place.
Here's the update from Ivor Wynne Stadium. This game is still going on in overtime. Paul McCallum has kicked a field goal. Hamilton needs a field goal to keep it going for one more possession or a touchdown to win it.
So Matt Kellett kicking off. Once again, Calvin Anderson. Flag on the play on the kickoff return by Calvin Anderson after Matt Kellett, who had not had a field goal. Nice to have a little chip shot, though, to get your confidence back.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and the big thing about the 0-4 with Matt Kellett is we look with Calvin Anderson, who is a guy they need to get more into that offense. Kellett is, you know, he had a chance to win the game. I mean, no one likes to go 0-for in anything, but he had that chance near the end of the game to win it, even with a single point, not getting out of the end zone. So there was a combination of not having a great day, plus having that chance, which magnifies things. But as you said, that little chip shot gets you back in the plus. Not a bad way to get going.
Now 6 of 10 on the season. Marcus Crandall has only had one play from scrimmage, fumbled the football on a little trick play. Won't see it this time. Anderson on the left side picks up about half the first down yardage.
But BC defense has been tough against the run. Legault and Cantor inside, and of course Baron Simpson. He's made his presence known. He leads the team in tackles and has 4 sacks. That secondary, Eric Carter is the veteran, 34 interceptions in his career, and they're going to have to be aggressive on this Stamp offensive set, the receivers.
There's Baron Simpson. And that big win laid a lick on Danny McManus. Rookie of the year last year. Crandall handing off again. Anderson, and he has the first down on 2nd and 4. So expect to see both of these teams attack the ground tonight.
Well, you know, a great opportunity to see the block. It's going to come right at you. Look at the block, right at the point of attack. Nice job of a kick out and then a seal down. And Anderson so smooth going through that gap. When you get a running back into the 4 or 5 steps into that linebacker area and isn't getting touched until the defensive backs come up, you know your guys are doing a great job of the point of attack.
78 yards last week for Calvin Anderson on the ground against Saskatchewan. Crandall back to pass. And the catch is made to Kamal Peterson. Couple of nice cuts in center field, midfield, and there he is, up to the 53-yard line.
William, when you talk about Marcus Crandall, and when we spoke specifically with Wally Bonham before the game, he said, you know, he's never seen him as sharp as he was in training camp. And when you see a quarterback in this situation get a chance, get his feet planted, and drop that seat down and get mechanically ready to throw a good football. And the other thing is, Peterson coming back to his quarterback, giving him a better target and creating separation from the coverage.
So many changes offensively and defensively for the Stampeders. Anderson to give up the middle after that 19-yard pickup of 3 on the ground for Anderson. And the Calgary Stampeders lost some very valuable personnel. Vince Danielson.
Yeah. You know, that security blanket in some ways. And here's a look at the offense. I mean, Bo Richter and Danielson Cummings, he's also gone. I mean, a quarterback has a rhythm and a communication with these guys, and it works throughout the year. And when they're gone, all of a sudden you got to recreate that with some new faces.
Number 83 was gone last week. Travis Moore, that ball for Tyree Davis, who's a newcomer to the Calgary lineup, was released by the Toronto Argonauts. Played with Montreal. Davis has sort of thrown the numbers out of whack for the teams he's played on. And in fact, for the Calgary Stampeders this week, they're missing one of their valuable specialty teams guys.
Yeah, and you look at specifically now at Davis, he may be one of the missing links for Wally Bowen on that offense. He had almost 900 yards in receiving yards with Montreal last year, and they're hoping that he can be a guy. You know, if they've got to shake up that combination of the rhythm of players before, so be it. But they have to get some momentum on offense and find some receivers.
Duncan O'Mahony. And out of bounds, and Damon Allen back to work.
Who would want to live in a semi-frozen, mosquito-infested backwater like Winnipeg? You stink! And the stench is beginning to rub off on your loser pig poo bombers! Maybe your football team will leave town too after the Rough Riders kick your butt!
CFL, the rivalry lives on.
Riders rule!
Well, it's over in Hamilton. Troy Davis's second touchdown of the game came in overtime, and the Ticats win a wild one, 34-31. We hope to have highlights for you later on tonight.
And the Tiger Cats move into second place in the East. Renegades losing to Toronto tonight. 1st and 10 for the Lions on their own 13. Damon Allen, play action. And over the middle to Geroy Simon. Big gain of 13 yards for Geroy Simon. And let's go to the sidelines. Here's our reporter tonight, Farhan Lalji.
Thanks, Rod. We're here with Bob Ackles, and Bob, the crowd, always a big point of discussion here in BC. You've talked about this being a 3-year plan. Talk about some of the marketing initiatives this club has got going right now.
Well, we've done a lot of work in the community with Lupus Agli and players. And, you know, we're really starting with the younger people in the elementary schools and the punt, pass, and kick age limit. And we're trying to get more involved in the community with our players and our with the corporations as well. So we've got a lot of work to do here over the next 2 or 3 years.
So that's the business side. Now the exciting part, you're going to get back into the football side, a big scouting trip to the NFL camp starting next week.
Well, I mean, that's basically my background, so I'm going to get back into the football end of it more. And this is the time of the year to do it because the NFL camps are in progress right now. And if you're going to get some good players on your negotiation list, you better know who they are.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. Don't just be throwing names on there. Find guys that can play.
2nd and 10. Larry Thompson, the intended target. And so the punt team will come on. Here's the defense for the Calgary Stampeders tonight.
A bit of a revolving door up front. Melvin Bradley's in for Willie Harvey in that defensive tackle spot. And, of course, 14 seasons for Alondra Johnson. Greg Ferris is the middle. He's the guy who sets it up. They've only got 2 picks in that secondary, all of them put together this year. They've got to improve on that number.
And Tony Martino, former Stampeder. Back to punt, and Tyree Davis standing at his own 45-yard line. Rush is on. Good kick from Martino, sending Davis back to his 32. Takes it up to the 43-yard line. That's where Marcus Crandall and the Stampeders will start when we come back. Had a fractured cheekbone, number 83, Travis Moore, and Wally Buono's happy to have his number 1 receiver back in the lineup.
Well, I think Travis Moore obviously is one of the key players on our team, and I think one of the better players in this league. And I think he does a lot for the confidence, not only of you know, the team, but I think also of the quarterback. I think the quarterback always has to have a guy that he can rely on, that he can depend on, that when things maybe aren't going well, he can get the ball too. So, you know, Travis, I think, brings out the best in everybody. He makes the defenses obviously aware of him, which I think makes it easier for everybody else.
3-time CFL All-Star. Tough to not have him in the lineup, obviously, but good for the Calgary Stampeders. that he's back. A lot of people were concerned that he might miss up to 6 weeks.
Yeah, and you see he's got that shield on, and that's going to protect that eye area. And asking Wally Bono about the shots, he said this week they did a lot of one-on-one hands in the face, and he feels fine about it.
2nd and 6, Crandall shotgun. Lob pass for Travis Moore was nowhere near the ball.
Well, you know, to get a good receiver out of his rhythm, you just don't let him run at you and find a spot and then go to it. You get up in his face, and that's exactly what we're doing here. All you have to do is jam him. You jam him, read his eyes, take him right out.
So Duncan O'Mahony back again. 3rd down and 6.
There's a kick.
And man, right there. Nowhere to go for Geroy Simon. Sean Millington is the weapon in the backfield for the BC Lions. 8 touchdowns already this season.
You know, I was watching that special teams. It ties nicely into Sean Millington. Now, he wasn't on that special team, but special teams often set the tempo for the rest of your team. And Millington is on a couple of cover teams as well as starting in the backfield and offense. So he gets a lot of work on offense alone. You throw him into that punt cover. Keep an eye on him because he makes things happen.
Both quarterbacks, Damon Allen and Marcus Crandall, have struggled so far this season. The give inside to Millington, who had 4 touchdowns in one game against Hamilton in that blowout, was one off the CFL record.
Well, he just punished people that game. I mean, you expect him to get in the 3 and 4 yards going in, absolutely. But when he had a couple 14 and a 19-yard run where he literally ran through and over people that were in front of him, not that were reaching for him. So he's very powerful. And sometimes, as we saw last set, he'll be alone in the backfield.
Allen with the pitch. Willie Hurst the carry, and he is rocked by a number of Stampeders. Steve Anderson there, Alondra Johnson also from behind.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get underneath a player's shoulder pads that carrying the football, and it's called jacking him up. And watch this. Gets up underneath, slams him down.
Willie Hurst had a 99-yard return last week for a touchdown against Edmonton, but also had a couple of drops, and we haven't seen him back on any of the punt plays.
And I think that can hurt your confidence, no question, and I think it did. But the way he ran that football, he wasn't tentative there.
Tony Martino again a good rush from Calgary. Tyree Davis picks it up with a 50, no yards call right to midfield. And it's still 3-0 BC on TSN. 1st and 10 at Calgary from their 54. 5:40 to go first quarter. 3-0 BC on a Matt Kellett field goal. Crandall, and almost had it picked.
You know, you talk about confidence, and confidence at the quarterback position a lot of times comes out of trust, and that's trust in your receivers. Not only that they'll catch the ball for you, which I think a few teams, both these teams in the field, they have had a problem with, but trust that they'll make the right decision against the right coverage and go to the spot where a quarterback would normally throw to, which is the opening based on that coverage. And I don't know if that trust is there yet like it was last year with the bevy of receivers he had.
Most valuable player in the Grey Cup. The win over the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Crandall hasn't had that magic so far this season, and a drop by Rob Johnson. And 2 and out again for the Stampeders.
You know, Rod, earlier we saw Peterson come back to his quarterback, and I think this is a case where the receiver runs the pattern and waits for the football. Just standing and waiting. If he continues to come back and create separation for his quarterback, it's an easier catch, and he doesn't have to fight for the ball as much.
A couple of young faces, Kamal Peterson and Rob Johnson, both rookies in the receiving corps for Calgary. O'Mahony is back again to punt. This time we see Willie Hurst and Geroy Simon back. Simon and a no yards call at the 21-yard line. Tomorrow night, Friday Night Football on TSN. Edmonton Eskimos and Montreal Alouettes. Should be a good one from Molson Stadium. Two teams have had impressive starts, particularly the Alouettes.
Oh, Montreal's
undefeated.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. They've looked confident in their play. They've been very good on offense to controlling the football and not making mistakes. Anthony Cavill has done just a tremendous job. I think he's only thrown one interception, and that's managing the football game, not only going out and playing it, and they've done a great job.
4.5 minutes to go, first quarter. Offenses have not done much here. Damon Allen. Sidearms one to Alfred Jackson. Well, what do they say when you get your hands on it? You should have it.
Yeah, I've heard a coach say that. The Lions send 4 out to the left, and you see Jackson. Now this ball is perfectly thrown just over the coverage, and it's catchable. As you say, you can touch it. Usually, at least when you can touch it with 2 hands like that, you can catch it. Maybe a little bit more spray on those gloves will help Alfred Jackson,
who missed some games with a separated collarbone this year, missed all of September last year with an MCL injury.
But is a big play guy, without question.
The big play here, 2nd and 10. Jackson again at the receiving end, and that's a first down.
Well, there's a confident Damon Allen stepping up, and of course it starts with you got to be able to set your feet and throw the football. Talked about that earlier with Marcus Crandall, but when you can do that, and then you know your receiver's going to run the right pattern. Look at this, nice curl in, slides. Damon's throwing that ball to the inside because the coverage is a little bit out, and he knows Jackson is going to make that little hook to the inside.
Jackson left side as Steve Barato watches. Allen with the give up the middle. Willie Hurst picks up a couple. Not much more.
Well, we haven't seen too many of the sets where we've got both those guys, Hurst and Millington, in the backfield and pound away the way they did against the Tiger Cats, and for that matter against the Argos. The last 2 home games, we've said they've dominated on the ground, road warriors, if you will. One they lost and one they won against the Tiger Cats, and that can set so many things up, especially when you get a guy like Damon Allen, who is so good with the football and play action.
2nd and 7. Allen incomplete this time for Geroy Simon.
Well, incomplete because he had a blitz, and a blitz from Greg Frere is a free safety, number 12. And you're going to see him sneak up, and when you blitz, the whole idea is first, rush the quarterback, make him do something he doesn't want to do, and that's throw the ball early. What a great job of taking a direct line, not picked up. And that's a result simply of overthrown because Damon Allen is leaning back to stop the hit from happening sooner so he can get the ball away.
Tyree Davis back once again for the Stampeders. Under 3 minutes to go, first quarter, and so far we have had a lot of indication of why these two teams are struggling offensively. Have not been able to move the football.
Absolutely. One guy back 11 up, so it could be more pressure on the punter. Calgary's come close a couple of times.
Not this time, though. They set the return. Low driving punt. Davis takes it as 15. Nowhere to go, and a flag on the play.
Well, we've talked about Calvin Anderson, probably one of the more underrated players to play in the CFL. His numbers have been outstanding in the past. He is a guy that can get out of the backfield and catch the ball as well as any receiver. He's an excellent running back, can block, and he's probably not been as productive this year earlier on as he would have liked. Now, when you're chasing teams, you can't do some things the way you used to, and it's not because he's not playing well. You just, if you don't get the ball in your hands, you don't get to make the yards as much. So I think as Calgary improves, they'll start to, and Anderson will stay in the game longer the closer the Stampeders can stay or get ahead of opposition.
Jacques Chapdelaine, the offensive coordinator for the Stampeders. Penalty on the return sends the Stampeders back to their 10-yard line, where they begin 1st and 10. Anderson with the give. And maybe 5 yards, 4 yards for the Stampeders.
You know, you talk about the running game, and it takes pressure off your offensive line in some ways because it allows your quarterback to throw the ball a little bit more successfully because the defenders aren't on their toes, but it also sets a tempo for those big offensive linemen. They like to come off the ball. They want the guys, the 4 or 5 that are rushing, to question every time they're coming off. Is it a play action? Is it a run? Then they've got the advantage.
2nd and 6. Crandall looking for Travis Moore, had to get rid of it. Scott Dybert is there for the catch. And Marcus Crandall with a great duck job because he was looking for Travis Moore from the get-go.
Well, this comes from his background. He was a bowler when he was younger. And 5-pin, watch him sling this, and the presence of mind, you know, that's lower than sidearm. If he was pitching, that'd be a spitball. Boy, and talk about with someone hanging on you, and you watch right here. He makes his 2 or 3 reads to the left, keeps his eye on where his release guy is. Dybert makes a play for him.
Big play, 1st and 10 from the 21 now. Crandall throwing again. Lots of time, takes off with it, instead goes head first up to the 30-yard line.
You know, it was funny when we talked with Wally Bono before the game, after Wally had gone for his pregame run, which amazes me.
He had a lather going, didn't he?
Oh, he sure did. And he said, you know, when you look at Crandall, he's a real fine runner. And there's nothing wrong with taking off when you go through your progression of reads. There's nothing there. Take off upfield and get yourself, in this case, 9 yards.
2nd and 1 now. Crandall over top, but another flag is thrown. Might have been some movement on the line. Scared.
Oftentimes you can get someone lining up in the neutral zone.
BC 95. 1st down.
Cameron Lego.
Yeah, I think that's just a case of you try to shorten that yard as much as you can, and Lego just pushed it a little bit. You know, the officials are right along that line, and though they don't carry a tape measure, they can tell.
1st and 10 from the 35. Once again, Calvin Anderson. Oh, and he is hit. Tripped up by Tony Walker. And a low-scoring first quarter, to say the least. Only a Matt Kellett field goal on a turnover. 3-0 BC after 1.
Thank you, Rye. Yes, 3-0 BC, but Calgary has started to make some, first down, so we could have something here into the second quarter. Schultze, the running game for BC, you said was going to be a key. What did you see in the opening period?
Well, we always said that if the BC Lions are going to perform, they got to be able to run the football. But as you look at these two plays right here, you see 2 different reasons why they're not able to run the football. First is Sean Millington. Now watch this hesitation right there. That 1 second of hesitation kind of destroys the play. Now on the other side, the point of attack blocking is there momentarily, but why doesn't Laundry get through? Laundry Johnson through there and just jack Willie Hurst all the way back to the ground. Here's the thing. In high school football, the holes are about this big. In college football, they're about this big. In pro football, they're like this big. Those running backs have to hit that seam without hesitation, and right now BC has to do a better job of blocking at the point of attack.
Well, I'm thinking that those footballs are looking about this big for those receivers because we've already seen 2 drops already, and we're going to have a look at a couple of them here. We talked at the top of the show about how these receivers need to give their quarterback some help. Poor Marcus Crandall had 91 yards passing. He needs his guys to come up with catches like this, and Rob Johnson doesn't. On the other side of the ball, Damon Allen. He's got his go-to guy in Alfred Jackson. This kills a quarterback who's undergoing a lot of criticism right now in the community. People are expecting bigger things from him. And, Matty, you've been a quarterback. I've been a receiver. No receiver likes to drop a football. But what does that do to a quarterback's psyche when that kind of thing happens?
Well, Jock, you know how I treated you when you were a receiver. And, I mean, we talked about this, as I try to come right back.
Very well, yes.
Because there's no guy in the game that is going to catch the football or want to catch that football more for you than the guy who just put it on the ground. So you go right back to him and you keep him in a ball game. Otherwise, you're going to lose him, and he's going to lose a little confidence, and then you're not going to be on the same page. There's not going to be any trust there. So, Jock, it's a situation where you go right back to him. I know Marcus Crandall's experienced enough to do that, and so is Damon Allen. So I look for them to continue to go to those receivers, try to move the chains. Yeah.
All right, right now Calgary is going to try to continue to move that ball, and in case you missed it, again, the final from Hamilton, Ticats win it in overtime 35-31.
And we begin the second quarter here at BC Place. Second down and 8 yards to go for the Stampeders on their own 37. So far, neither team has been able to sustain any type of march. And over the middle is Travis Moore with his first catch back in the Stampeder lineup.
What a great throw, and the great throw is because Moore finds that spot, that soft spot in the zone. And all he does is settle down and then allows his quarterback to find him. What a perfectly thrown football. Now that's sharp.
Wearing that special inside play to Calvin Anderson, smothered at the line. And I know we're going to show numbers here, and they aren't very productive numbers. It says a lot also about the defenses of both sides tonight.
Yeah, and they both, you know, both these defenses have to step up, and in different ways. You know, they're both searching for different things. The Stampeders were criticized early for not being able to stop the run. They played better last week against Saskatchewan Roughriders, who I think have a pretty good running game. So they seem to be improving in that spot. And of course, on the BC side, they just got to get off the field.
They have a newcomer on their line, number 56, Craig Powell. Throw again to Travis Moore. Back-to-back receptions for Moore. So Travis Moore making his presence felt.
This is a situation where, you know, the coverage isn't bad, but to see the break, gets the defensive back Lewis to turn his hips and then goes towards the sidelines. Carter's down below. He can't react in time. So Marcus Crandall gets the ball and like throwing it into a pot. Travis Moore makes the adjustment.
Injured BC Lion on the field. Ball's down to the 28-yard line for the Stampeders. A couple of big catches. That a 21-yard gain. And it's Cameron Legault, who's injured. We'll take a break, step aside. 1st and 10 for Stamps on the 28 when we come back. NFL season around the corner. The 2002 American Bowl from Japan. The Redskins and the 49ers. 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 Pacific. Former Stampeder quarterback Jeff Garcia at the helm of the Niners.
Now, is that a road trip?
That would be a big road trip. That's a big road trip. First and 10 for Crandall. The Stamps at the 28. Throwing again, and this time picked off, and a lot of room for Derek Lewis. Down the sideline he goes. And out of bounds at the 49-yard line. Marcus Crandall right into the arms of Derek Lewis. There was not a white uniform around. A 48-yard interception return.
Well, it almost seems like Crandall wasn't able to throw the ball the way he wanted to because he was hit. When he's hit, the ball releases a little bit differently and maybe wide right, so to speak. Got to be at the right place at the right time, and Derek Lewis was. Backside, it's tough. You have to have a sense, and I know he can feel it happening. The play fake right there, Calvin Anderson has to pick up after he makes the fake, and there's no question in my mind that that hit forced that arm wide, and that's why the ball went wide.
Willie Hurst with a nice little hurdle there. That's the second turnover by Marcus Crandall tonight. The first play of the game was a fumble recovered by the Lions. They scored that in interception, so BC looks to capitalize again.
Well, and you know, at the end of the night, you look at, and that's one of the statistics I always look at is points off turnovers, and this all not only is a turnover, but the great return gives the Lions super field position.
Talking with Wally Buono before the game, he said maybe Marcus Crandall is doing a little too much and trying to do a little too much early in this season after doing so much in the Grey Cup game. Damon Allen. Catch has made the ball, and it's an incomplete pass, say the officials. It looked for a second like Larry Thompson had the ball and then lost it.
Well, this is a great defensive play by Austin, number 33. He did have it, and as he started to bring it down, you're going to watch Austin slide his arm inside, right there, and strip it out. Now it's live.
Jeroy
And it's still
Simon
live.
was there, yeah.
Linebackers come. You want pressure, and Jamie Terrace slides to his left, keeps parallel to that line of scrimmage, and picks up Alondra Johnson.
And once again, Tyree Davis getting a lot of work tonight. Ramon Adams is not in the lineup for the Stamps. We'll be back to BC Place.
The middle linebackers, where it all happens. Johnson on the left, 14 years, and the young buck on the right, Baron Simpson, both making their impacts felt this year, both leading their teams or the defenses and tackles. Both very good players. And, you know, Johnson, after all these years, is still making it happen.
And both wearing the number 51. We'll be focusing on those 51s tonight. Crandall, after the interception, fortunately for the Stampeders, did not give up anything. Kelvin Anderson lost his helmet and still keeps going, minus the hat.
Is the old saying, when all those around you are losing theirs? Well, in this case, it's when I'm losing mine, keep working hard for me, because I'm not going to stop.
Manny Martin lost his helmet, too. Boy,
this bus ain't stopping on that stuff, buddy.
They are laying
That's a great run.
Laying it on. Kelvin Anderson had the nickname Earthquake in college. He's on the Richter scale there. Crandall. Travis Moore tried to make a diving catch at midfield, but the throw was not there.
Well, you talked about a few minutes ago Marcus Crandall, and it's tough to know in any sport when an athlete feels that or takes on more responsibility, which leads to pressure. And again, last year, Bo Richter and Danielson and some other guys could have been the driving force as far as the leadership. Not that Marcus Crandall wasn't, but, you know, he was in a different position last year, working hard for his job. Now I think he's taking a little more of that role, and maybe it's having an effect with him.
2nd and 10 on the 35. Crandall. Heat on. And Herman Smith all over him. And a flag on the play.
I got holding number.
And it will likely be a holding call against the Stampeders.
Well, somebody didn't hold well enough is what happened.
Holding. Calgary number 50.
You got a bit of a stunt up front here. Watch the movement in here. And then they break loose. And usually when you see a stunt, see him come around, now that's just a nice job of using your hands by Smith and making yourself smaller and going through that seam. And when you get an offensive lineman leaning forward just a little bit and you use that swim move, and that's what he did, you can get by.
Swam by Jamie Crysdale. Holding call on Jay McNeil. So once again, the Stampeders have to kick it away. Jeroy Simon, and flags on the play. And O'Mani was knocked around. That should be roughing the kicker. Simon is out of bounds eventually, and I also wonder if there might be too many men on the field.
Yeah, the Lions are playing with 13. And I checked the rule book just in the interim there, and it's only 12. And then there's roughing O'Mani. And this wasn't an act. I mean, they came after him. Pretty good shot. So special teams coach, I'm sure, is looking at his depth chart right now and maybe staying away from the head coach. Like staying at the other end? Oh, or maybe not.
Okay, let's add those up again. How many, that was...
Who's too anxious?
The flags flew back at the Lion 40-yard line, which meant that the back officials were counting. And then the roughing the kicker call on O'Mani.
Yeah, who said those guys weren't alert? But you know what, those sorts of things, whether you're a man short, and that happens more often than you're a man too many, drive coaches crazy. You know, you go over it the day before the game. Usually that's the day that everyone walks through special teams. You know, punt team on, punt team off. And I won't go through the whole process because it's a little bit boring. And you just, you know, you can't make mistakes like that.
Well, there have been a number of communication breakdowns and mental lapses from both of these teams early in the season, and both coaches have lamented that.
Oh, yeah, and Wally Bono, when we talked to him, you know, we talked about the changes. He said, well, you know, he said, no, look, our guys are making mental mistakes, and it's not always the new guys. And that's the problem. 11 guys do it right, one guy does it wrong, and it's not always the young guy. So, you know, we just got to get better mentally. You know, it's an important aspect and part of the football game. You got to know what you're doing, where you're supposed to be, and get there as fast as you can.
Big chill, Fred Childress in there, listening in, and
he's got the Barry White voice, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
I can hear him there. Come on, referee.
Oh, yeah.
You know I want you.
So Wally Buono retreats to the sidelines, trying to figure out who gets what here.
I thought we had it figured out, personally.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, not
we
that
we're
pretty sharp.
We have the benefit of the video replay, Mike.
Yes, we do. All I have to do is ask us. We'll tell him.
Here it is.
Contacting the kicker, BC 24. Too many men. BC is declined. No yards. Calgary 5-yard penalty. It'll be third down repeated.
I don't know if you can have any more penalties on that play.
Well, you know, anytime you go after the punter, you learn early and often that you never go to the body, you go to the footer where the ball's supposed to be. And sometimes it's, if you're coming straight up the middle, you might as well go straight at him, get those arms crossed and lay out. Don't come in from an angle and go to his body.
Duncan O'Mahony's happy to be back home, played at UBC, played junior football in Abbotsford, took the job away from Tony Martino in Calgary last year.
Yeah, he's averaging 45 yards a punt. He's having a great season. He kicks the ball high, and he's been able to place it well. So I'm sure the BC Lions have got it right now as far as numbers.
So now O'Mahony once again, and you can bet that the Lions will be a little more careful this time. And I'm certain they added their numbers up. Simon bursts outside and has a little bit of room, but tripped up at his own 50. So down the dial, if you don't have ESPN Classic, call your cable or satellite provider. Get it. The Pro Football Hall of Fame inductions from Canton, Ohio. Noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. That's Saturday. ESPN Classic.
Jim Kelly's going in. Stallworth. Some great names. Jim Kelly's got about 1,100 people going. I ran out of tickets.
Future CFL Hall of Famer Damon Allen airs it out for Larry Thompson. And he wants an interference call, and he might have a bit of a point.
I know when you're going down the field and you've got position, you can maintain your position, and that's what he was doing. Right here, you're going to watch them fight down the field as they head down. Now, he's got this position. He will keep it going down the field. As he turns his head, they got a little bit of a bump going between Austin and Thompson. I don't think that's interference. Hey, you got to play it that way. You got to play it tight. I mean, they're wearing pads. You know, you got to whack each other a little bit, a little push, a little shove.
It's football.
Yeah.
2nd and 10 from the 50. Allen in the shotgun. Thompson wide open at midfield. Little shake and bake there, and will be very close to the first down. Looks like he has it.
Line, Dave.
Well, you know, and that's when Damon Allen is at his best. You watch a guy throw a rope here, and he's going to step up for you because he feels some pressure, and it's coming from his right, slides a little bit, and I'll tell you what, that's just on a line, that ball.
First and 10 from the Stampeder 50. Quick pass for Ryan Thelwell.
Well, that's two quick hits, not hitch passes, and it's almost like they're setting something up. And, you know, Damon Allen, like all good quarterbacks, if you let them get into a bit of a rhythm, the offensive line does a good job of protection, allows them a little bit of room to move so he can slide up or laterally a bit to throw the ball. They become very tough.
Celebrated his 39th birthday earlier this week. His brother Marcus Allen, the great back, called him gave him a piece of encouragement saying, how old do you think you are? That's the most important thing. Don't look at the birth certificate. Damon Allen had the fountain of youth with him for a while, and a big hit there on Millington. Deshaun Austin all over the field on this sequence.
This is what defensive backs wait for right here. Just lying in the weeds, knows the big guy's coming out to the flat, and if you are going to hit a guy like Millington, you better get him low and come up through him.
So Matt Kellett comes on for a 50-yard field goal, his longest this season, 41. Already 1 for 1 tonight. Kick is up, has the distance, and it's good. So Matt Kellett now 2 for 2 tonight after an 0 for 4 a couple of weeks ago. 6-0 BC.
And team spirit. Look for Pandemonium game schedule and contest details on these specially marked bags and at tsn.ca/Fritos. Nothing satisfies like Fritos.
Duralube Advanced Engine Treatment is uniquely formulated and designed to protect your car's engine. Sure, Duralube Advanced Engine Treatment has its imitators. Hey, we're even flattered by it. Remember, the car you choose is your business. The way it runs is ours. Duralube Advanced Engine Treatment. Imitated, but never duplicated.
Duralube is available at these fine stores throughout Canada.
Well, what a difference a few weeks make. Matt Kellett, 2 for 2 tonight, but against Toronto, had a miserable outing.
Oh, it was painful. He was caught in corner. He tried to bounce it through a couple of times. And in fairness to him, Matt Kellett, that is, there were a couple of bad holds. But you know what? When it comes down to it, especially right there when it comes down to the game, you've got to be there. And that 50-yarder that we just saw him make, go an awful long way, and for good reason for him to be smiling.
Well, there was a lot of talk if he would lose his job in BC. Safe to say tonight he has made up for it. Has not had a field goal attempt since that night. It's 2 for 2. A chip shot earlier, and that 50-yarder, and he's now 7 for 11. As the Calgary Stampeders offense still struggling.
Well, they've run the ball effectively, not necessarily on that last play, but again, I don't think we're seeing Marcus Crandall at his best. When we talked to Wally Buono earlier, he said, you know, in training camp, he was almost too sharp. He was so good. Didn't play a lot in the preseason because he was sharp. And then all of a sudden, the switch, flick, and he wasn't sharp. Looked good this week, though, and he was hoping, obviously, that it would carry over to this game.
Crandall, right there's Peterson. Rookie Kamal Peterson, rookie last year. He's a former member of the Canadian junior track team. Triple jumper, a guy who's got a lot of talent. Drafted 5th overall in last year's draft out of New Hampshire.
Yeah, and he was the guy for at least last game when Travis Moore, I mean, he carried the mantle of being the most experienced one in that receiving corps.
Crandall again, trying to get some momentum, and look out. Rob Johnson is gone to the end zone. Wide open, Rob Johnson. Marcus Crandall on the money, and it's a touchdown for the Stampeders with the convert in front.
Well, it's right awfully well set up, and again, it starts with the protection, and I don't like to beat a dead horse, but a little bit of a play action when you're quarterback, and you see him look to our right, his left first, and then fall that drag at Johnson across the middle. The ball was perfectly thrown, allowed Johnson to catch it on the full run. No stutter step. He catches the ball, gets that inside shoulder upfield, and that's the result. Great execution.
Well, that will get you going in a hurry. 60-yard touchdown pass and run play. Mark McLaughlin on for the extra point. And Calgary has a 7-6 lead. They like Rob Johnson. We talked about Kamal Peterson. They really like this guy.
Oh, without question, he's a big target at 6'3", and he's over 200 pounds. He can run like the wind, and when they talked about him earlier in the year, he's got great quickness, and he showed it there. And you want and you hope as a coach, whether you're Jacques Chapdelaine or Wally Bono, that people are going to step up, and oftentimes you don't look at the young guys. You hope they do, but you never know. And I think this is a young fella who's going to mature, as we saw there, learn to read defenses maybe a little bit better, and become a big play receiver like a Danielson or a Bo Richter.
Well, Wally's world the last week has not had that guy, Travis Moore, and having him out there would also, you would think, spring a Peterson or a Rob Johnson.
Without question, it depends on the coverage, and if you cover down and double up a guy like Moore, the quarterback has to find the free one. There's always someone who is available generally if everyone's working hard and running the patterns. And a guy can't catch a pass like Travis Moore, but can affect a play in a very positive way, and that could have been the case.
Couple catches for Travis, but that big catch by Rob Johnson. And the Stampeders have already surpassed last week's totals for passing yards. Only 91 yards passing for Marcus Crandall last week.
Yeah, you don't expect to see that stat on the winning side, do you?
No, no. The win over Saskatchewan. Rough Riders tonight losing to Hamilton. There's Geroy Simon cutting back inside, tripped up near his 33-yard line. Make that the 28-yard line.
Well, McLaughlin had a little bit of stuff on that ball. It's almost like he hit it with a sandwich shot, because Simon was waiting for it to go out of bounds, and it never did.
So Damon Allen tonight, only the field goals from Matt Kellett so far. 6 of 13 for 53 yards for Allen tonight. He's passed over 55,000 yards in his career. Handoff inside. Nowhere to go. That play just has not worked tonight.
Boy, what a great job by the defense of closing in. And Jamie Terrace, who in situations is uncovered at times, has to step out and take on the middle guy, and he's doing it right here. Talk about exploding in. Now, Johnson didn't have to be the guy then, because the rest of that defense collapsed on the running play.
Second and 8. Allen throws sideline, and Alfred Jackson couldn't hang on.
And we talked with and about Steve Barato yesterday, and they talked about his receiving core and the frustration that I think Damon Allen's having. He said, you know what, guys have got to make plays and catches. You know, they're dropping the ball when they're thrown to them. When they have to make a play and stretch, they're not making those plays. And you know, a quarterback can only hang in with a guy so long before he creates opportunities. Sometimes, and this is true for everyone, your receivers have got to make a play, even in coverage. And they need more of that, and they haven't been getting it. And Barato knows. Actually, the guy he pointed out is Jason Claremont, the rookie, who has been the person who has been consistent and made those kinds of catches.
Martino, driving punt to Austin, dives forward to the 51-yard line. There's Steve Barato, a former head coach of the Calgary Stampeders in the 80s. Took this team to the Grey Cup a couple of seasons ago, but suddenly, boy, fame is fleeting, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is. It goes fast, and it's tough to deal with.
And the pressure is on Steve Barato here in Vancouver.
I don't like losing. No more than I like missing a 2-foot putt. I don't, whether I have a job, if we lose the game, whether I have a job on Friday or not is not something that not a decision that I make. And if you don't ever think it's going to happen to you, you're wrong. When you take the job, if you stay in it long enough, somebody's going to replace you. That's the way it is. If you don't want that to happen to you, don't take the job.
Well, he's been down that road, actually, with Calgary back in the 80s. His team went 0-5 and eventually was let go. And, I mean, it was such a happy ending story Greg Mons moved away. In comes Verrato, leads the Lions to the Grey Cup. So now the pressure on Verrato and the Lions. And Adam Rita, the general manager upstairs, there's talk that he might be the guy again.
Yeah, you know, there's so many things go into winning and losing, and I think it's tough, and I think it would be a mistake to look at Steve Verrato. It's all his fault at this point if they don't go on to win.
1st and 15, Crandall out of the pocket, past midfield, and Barron Simpson on top of him. And a whistle for the 3-minute warning here in the second quarter. The Calgary Stampeders leading the BC Lions 7-6. Wendy's CFL Live on TSN. Well, coming up in 2.5 minutes, Dave Randorf, Matt Dunnigan, Chris Schultz, Jock Climby to analyze this first half. Look back at the first game of the doubleheader tonight, where the Toronto Argonauts pick up the slack in a big way, beating the Ottawa Renegades, and Hamilton winning tonight. They'll update you. Travis Moore with the catch on 2nd and 5, close to the first down marker, and he may have it. You can see that helmet, special helmet, and of course the visor for Travis Moore to play with Rob Hitchcock, where he bruised, or we really don't know. It's either a bruise or a semi-fracture of the orbital bone, the cheekbone.
Yeah, it was just off the side. As you said a little while ago, that they thought 6 weeks was going to be the time he was out. And of course, this is great news. He only missed the one game against Saskatchewan. And it's important to have him back into that lineup for a lot of reasons. And one that you just saw there, I mean, a crucial second down play that they needed to communicate between receiver and quarterback to make sure they both got to that first down marker, as you saw they did by maybe about 7 inches.
Talked about that Argo win tonight, Reggie Slack. Can we anticipate Matt Dunnigan coming back? Because Ricky Foggy is on the sidelines as well of the BC Lions as a backup now. A lot of these retro quarterbacks coming back into fashion. Kelvin Anderson plowing his way for about 8 or 9 yards. And there's Ricky Foggy.
Well, he's, you know, the last time he played in the CFL was 1997 with the Ticats, and he's been playing football in the Arena League with the Toronto Phantoms. Now, of course, when you're in the Arena League, you throw an out. It's not quite as far as when you're throwing out on this field. Those who have stood in the middle of a hockey rink, it's a little different, but he's in great shape, as Reggie Slack proved today. Played great and made the difference.
2nd and 2. Crandall keeps. Looks like he has it. Inside 2 minutes now in the second quarter.
Actually, the BC Lions, if you put their number 2 quarterback, which is lined up as Ricky Foggy, and their number 1 quarterback, and you add the ages together, they may be the oldest ever.
I think you're right.
In professional football. Foggy's 36.
39-year-old Damon Allen.
I mean, that's, you know, there's some rings in that tree if you cut it open. You know, they've been around a while.
But it says something as well for experience, and nothing against Michael Bishop and the Toronto Argonauts.
Absolutely.
Thrown into the fire, and Reggie Slack showed some patience in the pocket tonight. Showed that the experience can pave the way.
Oh, without question. Making the reads on defenses when that safety was out of there with Mitchell going through. I mean, he made the difference in my estimation.
It's a bit of an ugly football game early on, though. A lot of turnovers. Crandall now giving to Anderson. Lots of room. Cuts back now at the 30. Still on his feet. Calvin Anderson forced out of bounds at the 24-yard line.
Well, we spoke earlier about getting Calvin Anderson the ball. It doesn't matter how you're going to do it, but watch how he does a great job of cutting back. He's going to come back, and watch the receiver from this side. It'll be Johnson. Johnson doesn't make the block, but watch the read by Calvin Anderson. He sees it now. He's not even in the picture, and he reads the cutback. Johnson comes across. I mean, this is a guy who makes things happen when he's got the ball in his hands.
76 yards tonight, 15 on that carry. Had 78 last week against Saskatchewan. 1st and 10 from the 24. Crandall escapes the pocket again and throws it away.
Well,
Marcus Crandall will take off. That time it looked like he was going to run. Suddenly some more pressure, and then he had to get rid of it.
Well, he expected Tyree Davis to slide to the outside, and Davis didn't, and Crandall was under extreme pressure and threw it to the open spot. Now, you know, Davis's first game as a Stampeder, he's got to get into sync with his quarterback. That'll come with tons of reps at practice.
2nd and 10 again. Peterson wide right, Davis on the left side. Peterson in the end zone. And that was intended actually for Travis Moore.
I always think that when you see a quarterback drop back and he starts patting the ball a little bit, you know he's got time. Out of the shotgun gives him a little bit more. You watch his head. He's patting that ball, waiting for the receiver to come up, and he was open, just a hair overthrown.
Travis Moore has made an impact tonight. Could not find him in that series.
The other thing that Wally Bono talked about when he was talking about his young quarterback is that, you know, sometimes you have a tendency to try to push things. He said, look, just stay within yourself, make the reads, do what you practice, and things work out, you know. Read that safety, read the guy in the coverage.
Mark McLaughlin. And the Stampeders now have a 4-point lead. This is Wendy's CFL Live from BC Place in Vancouver. Sean Millington only 8 yards. Thought he would be a bigger factor. Has not been so far for Damon Allen and the Lions. And Alfred Jackson slipped.
Incomplete, James.
The ball wasn't close.
Yeah, that wasn't a good throw. And again, looking at that running game, we all thought, we talked about it prior to the game, that the Lions would load that backfield up with Millington and Hurst and literally just go after the Stampeders. Like, you're going to have to stop us. We're going to lead block you. We're going to go inside and out. And we haven't seen that. We've seen a lot of single back set, 3 receivers to one side, 2, and only 1 guy in the backfield.
And especially a new, really, predominantly a new front 7 for the Calgary Stampeders this season.
Yeah, there's been a bit of a turnstile along that defensive line, and I think maybe they're close to getting it to where they want. At least that's what the impression Wally Bono gave me when we talked to him. You know what? We're getting there.
2nd and 10. Allen. And the ball is dropped by Thelwell. Again, the BC Lions 2 and out.
Well, again, those are the ones you expect. But Damon Allen in the pocket, watch how he slides. He'll come at you. Feel some pressure. Look at him come over to the left. Just a couple of hops, which creates that passing lane for him visually to get the ball downfield. Didn't work out this time, but that's, you know, that's that presence, the awareness, and the experience.
2 and out for the Lions, 3 of their last 4 possessions. Austin gets it to the 44-yard line. And another flag back at the 46-yard line of BC. Coming up, 45 seconds. Fabulous 4 standing by. Wendy's at the half.
I like that, the Fabulous 4. That's good.
And we'll talk, I'm sure.
Who's more fabulous?
Well, I guess you got to go by numbers.
It's a toss-up, right? I mean, take the non-athlete out of there. Now what do you do? Who's the most fab in your eyes?
I would say they all have, you know, have had their fabulous moments. I would, you know, you have to maybe put Dunnigan up there. Schultz up there too. Climbing.
Well, Schultz is already up there.
Climbing, maybe rookie of the
6,
year.
7, or 8. I mean,
yeah, he's up there. 1st and 10 back at the 30-yard line now. Crandall to Anderson again. Kelvin Anderson.
Yeah, you know, I like this. It's 39 seconds and counting. Give it to Anderson. Let that offensive line try to beat up on that defense. And let them have some fun, because the other thing is, here's a guy who can pop it, and with 39, 37 now and counting, maybe he can get you into a quick field goal range, because McLaughlin's got the range if you get in, you know, 45, 50.
Season high for Calvin Anderson. Should go over the century mark easily tonight. Crandall. Rob Johnson again. Touchdown earlier tonight for Johnson. Kind of a strange opening to this ball game when Crandall fumbled. Then through an interception, you would have thought it would be all BC in this first half, but it hasn't been.
Well, they spotted in the 3 real quick, and not something that Wally Buono would want his team, or any coach wants to do. And not taking advantage of it at the fullest. Yeah, they get 3 points, but I think in that situation, you can't be satisfied with coming away with 3 when you got to down low that quick. You know, you want to hurt the opposition, and one of the ways to do it is get in the end zone fast.
Stampeder defense shut them down as well. So far tonight, a 4-point ball game, 16 seconds to go before halftime.
Well, you know, this isn't a situation too unlike last year with the Stampeders. They came out, they weren't great. Bo Richter, who was a big guy later part of the season, hadn't, I think, caught up more than 1 or 2 balls after 4 or 5 games.
And to the sidelines. Don Blair, the former Lion, I think he has a little bit of revenge in his eyes here. He was cast away by the Lions.
Yeah, he's been very effective as a guy who was part of a Vanier Cup win in 1995 with the Calgary Dinos.
Trophy winner.
Lots of skills. Yeah, I'm sure he'd like to catch a big one against these guys, wouldn't he?
And looks like the final play. Crandall airing it out for Peterson at the goal line. The tip drill. No flags on the play, and that's it. Lots of defense, but a big touchdown strike to Rob Johnson. So far, the difference in this ball game. Calgary leads by 4 at the half.
At the half, brought to you by Wendy's. Wendy's Bacon Mushroom Melt is back for a limited time. Wendy's, it's better here.
And we are at the half. Welcome back to the Wendy's CFL Live studio. Dave Randorf with you, Chris Schultz and Matt Dunnigan and Jock Climby. Guys, these two teams, Calgary and BC, have had some classic confrontations over the years. This isn't going to be one of them. I don't think.
Hey, there's a whole half to play yet,
That's true. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
there's a whole half.
time.
10-6. That was a nice long bomb, 60-yarder to Rob Johnson.
Yeah, it sure was. And we're going to do the X's and O's here and break it down for you folks at home and show you how they managed to get this ball into the end zone. And we're going to watch Marcus Crandall on this play use a little play action, okay? And the reason why is he wants to get Barron Simpson right here, 51, out of the way. So Barron Simpson is going to react to this fake. There he goes. He gets sucked up. And now we're going to see Barron Simpson out of position, which leaves a throwing lane for Marcus Crandall. He's looking for his boy, Rob Johnson, who dropped one earlier on him, coming across the middle on what's called a ladder route. Now, folks, the ladder route is maybe the toughest pattern in football to cover for a defensive back. He's got to cover that guy all the way from one side of the field, all the way to the other side of the field. He wasn't able to hang with him. What I'm wondering, though, Matty, is where was the safety? I mean, he caught that ball, and he was just away.
Well, Calgary's loving it because he gave him an opportunity to put the ball in the end zone for the first and only time tonight. And speaking of putting the ball in the end zone or through the uprights, Matt Kellett in week 3, we all know he had a tough night, 0 for 4. Well, it took him 3 weeks to get this opportunity. His second field goal of the night after hitting a 16-yarder. Coach Broderick says, hey, Matt, you're doing so good. Let's try the 50-yarder. He puts it through the uprights, and what looks good on him is his teammates congratulating him, knowing how tough of a 3 weeks it has been. But this guy right here, as he runs past, Carl Kidd says, no. Come back and give me a big hug. It looks good on Carl Kidd and Matt Kellett because I know Carl was very tough on this young kid after the ball game, including myself, Chris. But, you know, he deserves it. He got a second chance, and he's making the most of it.
Well, you talked about the touchdown. You talked about the field goal. Let me talk about Calvin Anderson because I think this run just shows what a great running back he is. He accelerates through the seam that is provided from him for his offensive line, and watch the physical punishing style that he has. You're going to see a rarity in football. 2 helmets get knocked off. There goes one, and there goes Calvin Anderson. Excellent run by him. Now, this next play, you're going to see Sean Millington get tackled towards the end of the play. And to tell you the truth, folks, the only reason I wanted to show this play is it's fun to watch. Look at that crackback block there, and then Millington gets hit. There's really no relevance into what had happened in the first half. That's just fun to watch.
Hey, I'll tell you. The relevance is Millington is a load, and he picked him up. And look, you just love that play, Shelby.
That was fun.
We have fun here, don't we?
We do.
We do have fun
It's the second game. You know, we're trying to do our best. It is a 10-6 Calgary. This is one of 3 games on the CFL schedule tonight. And we are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to tell you what happened in the East, especially in Toronto, where Reggie Slack found Daryl Mitchell twice. And Mitchell eastbound pay dirt. Highlights and scores coming up. You're watching Wendy's CFL Live. Tomorrow night, of course, with Wendy's Friday Night Football. Don Matthews and his 5-0 Alouettes try to make it 6-0 as they will host the Edmonton Eskimos. That all gets going right here on TSN, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific. Two other games to talk about tonight. This is the game one of our doubleheader. Reggie Slack, his first start since October of 1999, and he remembers one thing, throw the ball to Daryl Mookie Mitchell, which he did. That one's into the end zone, and it's 7-1. Still on the first. Look at this mobility, Matt, as he gets away from trouble and turns it into something.
Oh, that's just power, strength, and know-how. Just using the field. Reggie showing us that he's still got that strength that made him an all-star.
That's right. Didn't lead to any points, but it showed us his legs. And how about the touch on that ball to the back of the end zone for Mookie again? 14-8 Argos at the half. And then Schulte, you want to tell us about Shaggy, JYD?
No, not really.
No, okay. Well,
The
it's part of the
junkyard.
entertainment package tonight. And this was the main part of the entertainment package. Slack to Mookie down at the 1. They punched it in from there. And the night went from bad to worse for Dan Crowley of the Ottawa Renegades. Came into the night with 3 interceptions, Jock, threw 4 of them tonight.
Well, that's one of the best in the business right there, Orlando Steinauer, picking him off in the corner. Good to see him back and picking off the ball.
Guys, I'll tell you what, the Toronto Argonauts with Robert Drummond in the backfield, Schulte, they look pretty good.
They did look really good. A lot of the guys that they had signed recently came through and performed very well. But the bottom line, Reggie Slack, he had a nice controlled effort, and that's why they won. They eliminated the mistakes when they had to.
Toronto with their 2nd win of the season. The other game in Hamilton was a wild one. Saskatchewan and Hamilton. Nealon Green did not start. Number 5 at quarterback for the Riders is Kevin Glenn. It's Derek Armstrong. This is with 2 minutes to go. They need this to tie the game, Jock.
He doesn't score here.
How get him?
My goodness. He must have run through the entire secondary. That's amazing.
It went to overtime, but after Saskatchewan got a field goal, Hamilton gets a touchdown. Troy Davis with his 2nd major of the game, so Saskatchewan does get a single point. They will certainly take that for the Hamilton Tiger Cats after a tough loss last week, Matty, in Ottawa. They get it done in overtime. 2nd time this year they've done that in overtime.
Veteran team, rebounded, never putting 2 losses back-to-back, always rebounding with the win.
Good ball game tonight in Hamilton. Halftime numbers brought to you by Moore's Clothing for Men. Well-made, well-priced, well-dressed. Matt?
Inexcusable BC Lions, 67 yards net offense, 14 on the ground. Where is the rushing game? If it hadn't been for the first 2 turnovers by Calgary, this game's over, but we still got 30 left to play.
Here's Farhan Lalji with the Calgary coach, Wally Buono.
Thank you very much, Coach. You're up at the half. You've really got to be pleased with the play of your defense.
Well, our defense has played very well, and I think our offense, if they just settle down and execute, like I said, we've had some throws that we've not done. Calvin's done a nice job of, running the football. Right now, Marcus is getting his confidence back.
Yeah, you talk about that as well. He's mixing Kelvin Anderson up a bit in the last 7 or 8 minutes of that quarter, and this offense seems to be finding its groove.
Well, obviously, we got to be able to run the football. I think when you do that, you keep the defense. But again, it's a very tight game. There's a lot of football to be played.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
One big play in the first half, and this is it. Marcus Crandall to Rob Johnson. 60 yards later, he is in. It's 10-6 Calgary. 3rd quarter coming up.
Largely ineffective, the Lions' offense in the first half. Here's Farhan Lalji with Steve Barato.
Thank you very much, Coach. First of all, what do you need to do to get your offense going in the second half?
Catch football. We put about 5 of them on the ground. I mean, it doesn't make any difference what route you run. What's going on? If you put the ball on the guy and the guy doesn't catch it, then you're not going to do much offensively.
14 yards rushing in this game as well, and Calgary had struggled against the run coming into this game.
They didn't struggle last week, and they got 2 new guys, 2 great big guys in there. They're good. They're a good football team, and they've always done a good job making it tough on us to run the football.
Coach, good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
They have to put out an APB for Willie Hurst.
Yeah, we hardly saw him at all. Tony Walker on the return, and he is rocked by James Burgess.
Well, there you go. Welcome to the second half. Burgess comes down and just literally lays the lumber. We've heard a lot of great things about Burgess, but this is the first time I've seen him just lock and load on someone. Outside linebacker, played in the XFL in 2001 for the Orlando Rage, and they're very high on this guy. He's in the NFL with San Diego for a little while, and again, the APB we have found. Hurst, he's on the bench.
Sean Millington has had no rule, and he is hammered as well. There have been some heavy hits tonight, most of them delivered by the Calgary Stampeders. Wow.
You know, the only word that I can think of is explosive, and that's at the end of the play. You know, Millington's going to drag it and pull people, but watch Frères right there. He just whacked him. Yeah, we want to turn that play up a little sooner. Great job of stretching it out by that defense.
2nd and 8. Allen over the middle. Another ferocious hit. But Jason Claremont hangs on to the football and probably has to clear the cobwebs out. Well, what a catch, what a hit. Kelly Melville.
Steve Barato said the one guy who's making plays in the air is Jason Claremont. What a great catch. Oh, yeah, he got it. And Kelly Malvo, what a tattoo that was.
Well, Barato also said these guys have to start hanging on to the football. Claremont did there. 1st and 10 now on the 53. The give inside once again to Millington. And he picks up 8 or 9 yards. One of his best carries of the night.
That sequence of plays and hits are as good as anywhere ever.
Baby.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's great when Claremont's highly thought of. It's his first year. He's had some pretty good numbers, but again, the key is Steve Barato said he's one of the guys that has made big plays for us, of which a lot of them aren't. As you can see, a little bit of a pressure point on that chin or the lip on that shot by Malvo.
2nd and 2 to go. And it looks like the Lions will move the chains again.
Well, they had to find some momentum. They had to find something. Now, things
and they had to get this guy going.
Yeah, and they've paid for it, but I think that's what's been missing. And I think Steve Barato hit on it a little bit earlier. Guys have got to step up. You can step up by taking hits and making catches, and that's what they're doing right now. But I still am baffled, unless Willie Hurst has lost his confidence based on last week. But he ran pretty hard a couple times earlier in the game. We haven't seen much of him.
From the 42. Allen outside to Brett Anderson. Melville right there for another smack.
Yeah, and this is a tough situation for the receiver. Malvo goes in, and watch when he makes the tackle. He goes down low. And watch how the feet don't move, but the legs, upper body does. Look at this, pinned down. Yikes, that puts some pressure on the knees. And it did. Brett Anderson is now going off after that hit. That jars that lower body. That's why you love this turf so much. Sarcastically said by me.
A lot of that secondary got together last year on the route to the Grey Cup. Pass knocked down. Allen nowhere to go. 2nd and 4. That was Antoine Young, one of the newcomers. And let's go to the sidelines now. Here's Farhan.
Thanks, Rod. An update on the condition of Willie Hurst. He was in and out of the game during the first half. He actually suffered a slight shoulder separation last week in Edmonton. He has re-aggravated that shoulder, and he is unlikely to return.
There you go.
Well, he was such a weapon last week. Also had a bit of dropsy
on the punts. Yeah, wet day, and he had 2, both recovered by the Eskimos.
So Matt Kellett, can he go 3 for 3? Yes, he can. Nice comeback for Matt Kellett. It's a 1-point ball game now in BC. Ricky Ray, what a game for the Edmonton Eskimo rookie last week. Montreal Alouettes, Anthony Calvillo, 5-0, the Owls. Don Matthews, the winningest coach in CFL history. Number 2 on the list is Wally Buono. Sidelines tonight for the Calgary Stampeders. And Matt Kellett has made this a 1-point ball game. Austin stopped at his 30. And I would say that this is a night of redemption for Matt Kellett. 3 for 3, 16, 50, and 42. And I think the confidence is back on the good side of the ledger now.
Oh, without question. And you know, it always comes down to a good snap and a proper hold. And we saw that against the Argos, that, you know, those things weren't working together. And it's tough. It isn't an easy thing to do. And I'm sure he's been waiting. We talked about a couple games to get that monkey off his shoulders. And he's done it in fine form and in important times.
So Marcus Crandall. Fake pass and hands inside to Calvin Anderson, takes a hit and keeps on going. Close to the first down yardage.
Yeah, you just can't make an assumption that when you make a hit on a good running back that he's going to go down. And here's a perfect example of it. You know, you can't just make contact with guys that'll keep running. Look at the hit right here. Well, get those arms wrapped around him, around that waist of his, and bring him down. Because good running backs have a good body position, their shoulders and their head, and they keep their legs going. They'll explode into you.
2nd and 1. Once again, you know who. He has the first down.
Well, and that becomes so key. When you can run the football, you can start working the play action off it, and you can get downfield through the air. And that's when things start going well for you, and when the confidence starts to come together for your quarterback and for your receivers.
Well, against Saskatchewan, did not have a big game, Calvin Anderson, but tonight, 13 touches, 93 yards.
There's that combination. I mean, like we talked, he can do it all. Throw him the ball, hand it to him.
Crandall to the sidelines for Tyree Davis. Catch is made, and once again, another first down for Calgary.
Well, he cracked the egg with his first catch, his first start with the Calgary Stampeders, and I'm getting a sense that Crandall, I noticed it in the second part of the second quarter, where he's now starting to use his eyes, read the defense, is going to just not focusing and dialing into one guy. Check the whole buffet out before you throw the ball, and that's, I think, what he's starting to do and feel more comfortable doing it.
9 minutes to go, third quarter. Calgary leading 10-9. Anderson on the give again and close again. Another 9-yard pickup for the Stampeder running back.
Well, Barron Simpson at that middle linebacker spot, we talked about him, 51, and he better get there and get there in a hurry. Watch how he steps up, makes the read now. He has got to go left, and he's got to go left fast, because if Simpson doesn't get his hands around him there, Calvin Anderson's got another 8 or 9 and maybe breaking another tackle.
Over 100 yards now rushing tonight for Calvin Anderson. 2nd and 1. Crandall keeps for the first down.
Well, oftentimes when your running back cracks that century mark, you're going to win football games, and he is over that 100-yard mark. And it sets so many other things up. They run that single bat set. Oftentimes Scott Dybert's in there as the lead blocker. They've got a great combination. We saw how well this offense, even though George Cortez isn't back as offensive coordinator, there's some subtle changes, but for the most part, it's basically the same. So what it comes down to is execution. And today, they're executing a little bit better than they have in the past.
So it was very close. In fact, wasn't a very good spot for the Calgary Stampeders. Looked like Crandall might have had it. So now it's 3rd and inches. Scott Reginald in the backfield along with Anderson. Crandall looks like he'll keep, and a flag on the play.
Well, if he gets the right spot, he's got the first down. Now, I'm not sure what the flag is, whether, again, BC is lined up in that neutral area, which puts them offside.
Offside. BC 91. First down.
That was Herman Smith. 9 sacks last season for Herman Smith.
There's another guy. A lot of these guys are wearing the new helmet where you can see that comes down almost like a chin piece. Protects against concussions a little bit better, a little different design. A lot of the impact players, the guys that are doing a lot of hitting, are wearing them.
And there's Tyree Davis. Off the field and back on his feet and down to the 20-yard line.
Well, you know, Simpson again out of that middle linebacker spot. He doesn't lead in tackles and do what he does without being able to get around. And you see him make the read there, but watch him go back. He'll come off his coverage of his man, Anderson, out of the backfield. Now watch him hustle. I mean, going to the football. Great players on defense never stop pursuing the football. No matter where they are in relation to the ball, they always go to the ball.
Last year's Rookie of the Year in the Canadian Football League. 1st and 10 now from the 21. Crandall. And almost had it picked off by Anthony Pryor. Tyree Davis, the intended target.
You got to stick to these guys like Lou. There was good coverage downfield. You're taking a look at Travis Moore. The coverage was excellent on him. He got jammed downfield, and he thought he had an opportunity. The ball was gone. He was breaking to the corner behind his coverage, but again, Crandall, the ball was well on its way to Davis.
You know, they'll be watching number 83 right now. 8-play, 59-yard drive so far. 2nd and 10. Crandall. And oh, what a hit! But the catch made by Rob Johnson and Eric Carter. There for the big hit. But it looks like it's another 1st now and goal for the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, and then Carter's coming off his coverage. As soon as the ball's released, he's eyeballing the quarterback. He slides inside. Not early enough to make the interception. But watch how he comes off here, and here makes the catch. Watch the read. Slides to the middle, settles down just a little bit, and there's Carter coming off. We've seen some whacking going on this evening, haven't we?
You would have had to have your chin strap buckled up here. 1st and goal from the 6. Kelvin Anderson down to the goal line.
You know, that offensive line of the Stampeders have really stepped up. You know, earlier in the year, there's talk when things aren't going well and you're not having the success. Not oftentimes do they point to the offensive line, and they usually don't point to them either when things are going well. But that group of Childress, McNeil, Crysdale, Singh, and Pilon have done an excellent job of not only in dry blocking and creating opportunities off the run, but for the most part protecting their quarterback.
11th play of the drive now. Chance to put it in again. Dybert and Rengebald in the backfield to block for Anderson. 2nd and goal. Dybert. And the fake. And it's a touchdown, but a flag on the play. Dybert on the handoff into the end zone, but the officials now talk this one over.
BC defensive line, penalties declined, touchdown.
So Scott Dybert with his 2nd touchdown in the last 2 games. Major against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but now here tonight against the BC Lions.
Well, you know, when you get down low like that, I just finished talking about that offensive line, and that front of the defensive line will come low at you, and that offense has to get down underneath, seal them, and then come off in some situations the existing block and scrape onto a linebacker or defensive back up tight. Good execution.
McLaughlin with the extra point. 17-9 now for the Stampeders on the touchdown by Scott Dybert.
Montreal, you used to be winners. Now you're just whiners. Boo! We are different. We are French. Shut up. You're not even real French anyway, like those guys from Denmark, man. In Vancouver, we're real. Yeah, the championship BC Lions, they're really gonna kick some Alouette butt. Poutine sucks. BC rules.
CFL, the rivalry lives on.
What's up, dudes?
What a great drive by the Calgary Stampeders. They ate up the ground. They ate up the clock.
Yeah, and it's a great finish. And what they did is they did a lot of things well. And I think from an offensive perspective, when Jacques Chapdelaine looks at this and Wally Bono, that just say, look, we did a lot of things. The diversity was there. They executed, and more importantly, guys made catches. Something that Steve Barato talked about earlier that his guys weren't doing. And that, you know what? You can't keep drives going unless guys are making, and it sounds simple, but you got to hang on to the ball and you got to make those catches.
17-9 now, inside 5 minutes in this third quarter. Simon at his 30, nowhere to go again. And the Lions will start at their 35-yard line, and they have stalled anywhere near the Calgary territory tonight.
Absolutely. How it's finished off. Look at the blocking here, here. Here's the lead that will scrape in here. Watch, and he slides back inside. Point of attack. Let her fly. Nice seam. Lead by the fullback, number 21, Regenbold. And then just the feel down low by Dybert. Sensing what's there. He's got his nose up, so he sees what's happening. Baron Simpson tries to get to and fill that spot, but he can't step up because of the lead block.
Baron Simpson was in almost every defensive play for the Lions in that last Calgary possession. Over the middle, Sheroy Simon will get the Lions going, but they have not been able to sustain any type of momentum once they get towards the 40-30-yard line of the Calgary Stampeders. And Damon Allen has not even had a sniff of the end zone since the first possession of the ball game.
Yeah, and they didn't get there on their own accord. They got there because the Stamps messed up early. So you're right, they need a drive like the Stamps just put together.
Larry Thompson is out of bounds at the 43-yard line, and they'll move the chains.
The other thing is, you know what they're lacking, it seems, from up here, is some jump, some excitement. I mean, they're going back to the huddle. Just a second ago, I saw Jason Claremont slapping his hands. I mean, after the first down catch by Simon, he popped up. Show some emotion. I mean, that's what's going to carry. That's what drives this thing. And I haven't seen a whole lot of emotion from the BC Lions. And, you know, that's an important part of the football game if you want to be successful.
Maybe one of the reasons right now, maybe the key reason why this team is 1-4. 2 1-4 teams tonight. Millington finally has some running room. So far tonight has not had the kind of game he had against the Hamilton Tiger Cats 2 games ago.
No, he didn't, but he hasn't got the compliment. You know, I still think that we know Hurst is out of the game because of a sore shoulder, and I believe those opportunities are created by other things that happen in a game. And when you haven't got that with you, he's alone in the backfield. As you look at Willie Hurst right now, nursing that sore shoulder, probably driving him crazy to stand and watch. Because he's the kind of guy that injects energy by the way he plays.
Damon Allen out of the pocket. Look out here. Stamps on the run. Allen out of bounds. Boy, Steve Anderson was bearing down on him.
Yeah, you know, and that's something I think that we've seen Damon Allen not do enough of. And I think a lot of it is because this year he's had to wait and he's hung in there. And he's waited for a receiver. But look at, he's making the read. See his head move? Started left, goes to the middle, nothing there, I'm out of here. Now before, and a lot of times this year, he'd wait and dial in. And when that happens, you lose your back door. And you can't get out. That time the back door's open and he took it.
1st and 10 from the 28. Thompson close to the first down yardage.
Ooh, and that had the look of another big hit by Austin. I think that ball sailed a bit for Damon Allen.
Sean Austin only played in 2 regular season games, but then helped the Stampeders immeasurably in the playoffs and onward to the Grey Cup. From the 18, Allen looking for Jackson. Couldn't catch up with it.
No, and that's great coverage. He couldn't. I mean, the ball was thrown, and of course, if you're in that situation, you only throw it where your receiver can get it, and Jackson couldn't break the coverage.
Alfred Jackson caught a couple of passes early on, but has been quiet since the first quarter of this ball game. Lions have scored 3 field goals, and now in the red zone, 2nd and 10. The closest they've been to the goal line, the 8-yard line, on their first possession. And flags flying. And players removing.
Yeah.
It might look maybe a little bit like BC moved.
Well, it is procedure. You're absolutely right. And that comes down
Illegal
to...
procedure. BC 68. Still second down.
I mean, you know, that's Mantika at right tackle. That's a mental error. I mean, that's just not being aware of the snap count and jumping early. And, you know, what was 2nd and 10 now is 2nd and 15. Opportunity, even though it was 2nd and 10, is there, and now they're making it tougher on themselves. And again, it goes right back to what both these coaches talked about. You know, whether it's not being dialed in, mental mistakes, however you want to categorize it, it's happening way too often.
So 2nd and 15 for Simon, and it's picked off. Greg Frères, the Canadian free safety, stops Damon Allen and the Lions in their tracks once again. Stampeder ball when we come back. NFL preseason, the American Bowl, the Redskins and 49ers, 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, Saturday night from the land of the rising sun in Japan. And here tonight in Vancouver, Greg Frères stops a pretty impressive drive by Damon Allen and the Lions, and that ball had no chance.
No chance, and he was reading the quarterback right from the snap.
Marcus Crandall throwing again. Johnson has it over the middle. Up to the 48. Rob Johnson already a touchdown earlier tonight. Less than 30 seconds left in the third quarter. Calgary still 17-9 BC in this game, but it just doesn't seem like the Lions are in this game right now.
Yeah, you know, that's a very interesting point, too, because Calgary now seems to be having their way, if you will. Crandall's making good reads. I think his receivers are helping him out. And, you know, whether it's the scheme on defense, but, you know, Johnson's been wide open a couple of times. He's having a big game.
Crandall staying in the pocket. Diving Davis. And that should be the final play of this third quarter. Dominated by the Calgary Stampeders. And there it is. So a touchdown and a turnover. Stamps lead by 8.
17-9. You know, Neil Lumsden was making the point that there seems to be once again emotion lacking from the BC Lions at home. No emotion lacking from the Stamps to start this quarter.
No,
that was
Calgary,
awesome.
The Calgary Stampeders took the emotion of that second half away right in the opening 3 plays. Watch this. I mean, this is remarkable because it's the first 3 plays of the second half. Here's the first one. Bam! Right there. Now, the very next play, another big bam! Oh, yeah, look at that right there. And now this is the third play. Bam! Look at that. I mean, when you think about football, another one. I forgot about that one. I mean, when you think about football and you think about how to get momentum changes, I mean, that's the way to do it, guys, is to make the hits. I know you can have some great offensive plays, but I'd rather see the hits like that.
Schultz, we don't have to break it down all the time. We just enjoy the game and be fans. And I think that's what we're doing here in the studio. Jack, Chris, you know it. We're in here just loving that because they came out there in BC's backyard and said, hey, we're going to take it to you and rub your face in it, and that's what they're doing right now.
Well, Brett, the 5th play of that quarter, Brett Anderson gets his knees chopped out. He gets forced out of the game. That didn't even make our hit parade.
No.
I mean, those hits were great, but I have to give credit to those guys. They got up and kept at it. Jason Claremont took a wicked hit, and he got up, went to the sideline, and came back out and played. Hats off to him.
Well, guys, you know, here's the question you got to ask. Do you think there's going to be a change in BC? I mean,
because we don't have enough time for that.
When you think about it, right now, the Lions are playing with such little emotion. And, I mean, the players are responsible for getting themselves mentally and emotionally ready to play. But sometimes the coaches have to also share in that responsibility.
Man, talk about bringing me down, Schultz. Man, we had them hits, and now you get heavy on us.
Well, right now, that emotion is carrying the Calgary Stampeders, leading by a score of 17-9. Let's see if the Lions can pick it up a little bit in the final period. Rod?
Well, he says he hasn't pushed the panic button yet. BC Lions still in this ball game, but Steve Barato has to wonder how much closer that panic button is getting.
He used this analogy yesterday about this. I asked him, when you stand on the sidelines in the frustration level, he says, well, you know, it's a little like when your kids learn how to drive, and you eventually have to turn the keys over to them, and you hope like heck that, you know, everything's safe and that they do what you told them to do. And in this case, the keys are in their hands, but they're driving all over the road.
Yeah, you're right. 2nd and 10 on the 48. Crandall. And this one looked like it was going to be picked off by Eric Carter. Couldn't hang on, and so that will bring the Calgary kicking team on.
I'd be smiling too if I was Marcus Crandall, because that one should have been. Again, you know, we talk about Eric Carter and some of the things he brings to the game, and not only experience, but and a lot of jam. He likes getting people fired up, and he's got to help his team get that. But he comes off and eyeballs quarterbacks so well, and comes off coverage to fold in on plays as well as anyone I've seen.
CFL All-Star, 4 interceptions last year. Duncan O'Mahony coming back on to kick this ball away. We have an injury on the field. Early here in the 4th quarter, Calgary leads BC 17-9. We'll step aside.
Well, the numbers tell a pretty good story right here. First downs. That's a key one right there, and of course the running game, and that only puts them up by 8. Should be more based on the stats.
But the BC Lions have just not been able to have any big gains on their possessions. The most, a 22-yard reception early on. Duncan O'Mahony, end over end kick that was a low driving one. Geroy Simon with a flag on the play, no yards against Calgary. So if there's a positive for the Lions, the fact is they're
still there.
8 points away from this.
Yeah, and you know what they might be saying at this point, you know, guys, we've been stinking the place out, and we can still win this thing. So let's try to put, you know, a good quarter of football together, and we can have a chance getting another win at home. You know, you're looking at that run number that I identified for the Stamps, but on the other side, the contrast, we talked earlier about, you know, how the Lions have been so effective running the football at home and what it led to for them. You know, and it really can be dominating, and I think that's what we're seeing the Stamps do, having success running the football. Now, again, a reminder, Willie Hurst is out. That has an impact on it, no doubt about it.
Larry Thompson comes out wide right. Damon Allen, the hand to Millington. Stuffed right there by James Burgess.
That's just great linebacker play. You know, it's coming wide. You don't step outside, you step up first. That's what all great linebackers do. Watch how they step up. He'll step up and go. This side, he doesn't chase. He goes upfield. Right here. Gets that butt nice and low and explodes up through the running back. That's textbook.
Loss of 2 yards on the play. Good hit by Burgess. 2nd and 12. Allen has to roll right. Throws into traffic. And that is a no-go again for the BC Lions. And so once again, Tony Martino will come out and kick the ball away.
Yeah, you see Damon point as if someone didn't make the right read or adjustment. Because, you know, they can on the go. They can make those adjustments. Field shortens real quick, and at the end of the play, look at Alondra Johnson go, but just the number of white jerseys around that play and flowing to the receiver is incredible. Comes back to that, you know, the hustle. Get to the football.
Jason Claremont again was in the middle of that. Hunt all the way back to the 30-yard line. And here comes Marcus Crandall and the Stamps again, leading 17-9. They have more new faces than some governments have in shakeups. Grey Cup champions, and good to have Travis Moore. The Stampeders have him back tonight in this, I suppose, time of transition for the Stamps.
It's starting to gel. It's definitely starting to gel. So you got big things to look for from us. We don't like all that heat to say, I mean, especially those guys I know. You know, we lost Bo Richter. Bo Richter's a very good player. We lost Vince. very good player. I mean, when you lose those kind of guys, and then the other guys who's trying to replace them, you know, it's a lot of heat on them. They got to be willing to, you know, take that pressure, but just don't put all that weight on themselves. Just go out there and play and have fun. When you put all that pressure on yourself, that's when you make mistakes.
Yeah, the ultimate team game. You can't do it by yourself. No one can. You should have 11 other guys around you. And they're going to get tired of, and they want to eliminate people talking about, even though they're their buddies, of Danielson and Bo Richter. Hey, they're not here anymore. Stop talking about it.
Crandall to Johnson. And that will move the first down markers. You know, there are some teams that are kind of panicking right now, disappointed with their records, but all you have to do, I'm sure some coaches and general managers are looking at these two teams who have been models over the last 2 seasons about pathways to the Grey Cup. They had losing records and eventually won the big one.
Yeah, you know, it's amazing. It really is amazing when you look at it and you see the records from 98 and 99 and then 8 and 10, 8 and 10. I think that's more of an anomaly than it is going to be the standard process, especially this year.
Crandall sprinting out of trouble. Downfield, open is Johnson. And he is having a huge game here in BC Place tonight.
Well, it doesn't get any better. And, you know, the first guy down there to congratulate him is, guess who? Number 1, Crandall. Watch how he moves and gets himself. This is just a great throw on the run. Leaning to his right. Perfect position. Just perfect. What a day. I mean, 100, you know, a great day for a young receiver, and a reason that Chapdelaine and Wally Bono should be saying, hey, you know what? Maybe it is starting to come together. Maybe we've made some good decisions.
Maybe it is gelling.
Yeah.
Remember, the Stamp started 0-4 last year and then eventually got to the big game and won it. Not the way you want to do it. You never plan it that way.
No, but you take it when you can get it.
Gets out of trouble. Marcus Crandall may have the first down, and he should have been stopped for a loss.
Yeah, and that's that awareness and that athletic ability. And again, you talk about a quarterback, when you got those skills, use what you've got, and you'll see here, he will check off quickly out of the shotgun, slides a little bit, you know where he wants to go, and see how he falls the receiver, but nothing's there. Well, you know what? Don't hang in there. Get out of town.
Cameron Legault thought he had him like a slippery fish. He just got right out of his grasp. The one that got away, Marcus Crandall.
And you know, and I also think that a quarterback, when you can use all your skills, and all the good ones in the past, when they're truly into the game, they're showing you their abilities based on what happens on the field. And I think this is a perfect example. Crandall is using everything in his bag tonight to help them move the football. His arm, his head, his legs. That's when they're at their best.
So 2nd and inches here for
you know, I
Crandall and company. Does Wally Buono have something up his sleeve?
Or more importantly, Crandall.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, they and that short yardage is very clear when they line up. I think that if you're going to do it now. Let's put it in the end zone. A little play action here.
Decides to go straight ahead. Down to the 15-yard line. So we talk about confidence and how important it is. Marcus Crandall has been kind of short in that department. Confidence so far this season. Could be a huge breakout night for the Stampeder quarterback here.
Oh, without question. And, you know, it was interesting to have Wally Bono say that earlier on, that he had the whole team had a real good week of practice. Now, that doesn't always mean you're going to come out and play well, unfortunately. But he liked the way Crandall was throwing the football, and he said it was starting to remind him of not only earlier this year, but more of last year. And I think it's showing up tonight.
Crandall, hand inside to Anderson on the fake pass. Noah Cantor there with the stop.
Big play by Noah Cantor, graduate St. Mary's. 1 sack coming into this game, and he was maybe the last guy. If Calvin Anderson, if everyone else seemed to have bid on that fake, not Noah Cantor.
Well, Steve Barato has not been happy with his pressure and his pass rush so far this season. Can they put some pressure now on Crandall? They need it. They need a stop.
They come.
Incomplete pass. pass for Johnson that time will bring out Mark McLaughlin.
Well, they did bring the pressure. You mentioned it. They brought Tony Walker from the short side of the field from his halfback spot, and they realized, you know, every time you blitz, you create an opportunity for the offense. So you got to get to him quick and make him throw the ball, and that's exactly what Steve Brado's defense did at that point. So a successful blitz, if you will.
So Mark McLaughlin at the 22-yard line. So McLaughlin and Paulus Baldiston kind of fighting it out for second and third right now on the all-time scoring list behind you-know-who, Louis Bisaglia. Right through the uprights, and it's now an 11-point game here at BC Place. Big night in the CFL coming up. Sports Center with Pollard and Hedger. 3 games. Ticats win in overtime over Saskatchewan. Nealon Green out of commission in that ball game for the Rough Riders. Argos win, get their second win of the season. Reggie Slack gets the start. And what will happen in this ball game? Damon Allen to G-Roy Simon, who has some room outside, but runs out of room quickly. Stampeders all over him.
Yeah, they got to start putting some things together, and you know, a good play every drive is not enough. You need 3 or 4 or 5 plays, and you get better when you drive the football. Offenses get better when they stay on the field longer, and defenses get weaker. And you know, this is a situation where Steve Brado's offense, or his offensive team, has to start getting better and put a drive together. And I hate to state the obvious, but you know, it's about time. They're well overdue.
Damon Allen sideline to Sean Millington. Stepped out of bounds, but they will move the yardsticks. The Lions just have not had any big plays whatsoever really tonight, whereas the Stampeders have had a couple of breakers, mostly by Rob Johnson.
Yeah, it seems that every time they've gone to what you might consider a big play, a deep pass, everyone seems to be out of sync. The little ones like that, so maybe it's going to be a little pass in a big run.
Allen staying in again. And the checkout pass to Sean Millington.
You know, it's a middle linebacker in a pass situation will drop, make the read, and then come up. And Alondra Johnson, we've talked about, will make his drop and then read the ball. See him take a look. There's his coverage. He's got Claremont. Nope, now it's time to turn into a missile. Test those shoulder pads out.
Allen again. And Alfred Jackson can't come back to the ball. Damon Allen has just been misfiring, and it's come from both sides, from the quarterback and from his receivers.
Yeah, and you know, this pass is supposed to be thrown behind him. I mean, the coverage, if your coverage is tight, your receiver's going to know it's coming behind him. He's got to pull back because that's where the ball's coming. And that's where that, you know, Damon Allen sees it. He's looking right at it all the way. Tight coverage, he's going to him. Well, yank it back, drop the anchor, pull down because the ball is coming in the back pocket, not being thrown over top.
Still lots of time left, though. 7.5 minutes. Tyree Davis back once again. All right, we have a reverse on this. Stampeders have been working on it. Not this time. And a flag on the play. Deshaun Austin tackled there. 20-9, the Stampeders lead. Well, the area code is not 333 for the BC Lions, but tonight that's what they've had in the first 3 quarters. Not enough here in the 4th quarter. Lions need some stops. Calvin Anderson and the Calgary Stampeders have been eating up the ground here in the second half.
Well, and then again, the pressure's on this BC line defense, and Carl Kidd, 26, stepped up right there. Going into this game, he was number 2 in tackles for this Lion defense, and he just comes up and explodes the play behind the line of scrimmage. And you know, this defensive group of 12 guys have big shoulders, but you just can't keep putting the weight back on them.
Schemed again with a couple of turnovers by the Stampeders. Since that time, they've owned it. Travis Moore up to the 43-yard line. does not look like he has the first down. Will be a couple of yards short, so Lions will get it back.
Yeah, they stepped up again. It's the 2 and out, and they said the defenses get better when they're not on the field as long, and it doesn't look like the Stampeders were fooled by that win last week. And I don't mean that fooled in the sense that, yeah, everything is solved. They know, and they should realize that the one win against a good football team last week doesn't make their season. They got to keep putting those things and that work ethic to work every week to get better, because you know what? No one's going away in this league.
O'Malley again from his 32-yard line. That's a short punt. Stays on the sidelines. They've got a good bounce. Got a lot more out of that than it first looked. So Damon Allen back at work again.
But still pretty good field position for Allen in that offense. I mean, you're right, that kick looked like it was going to go out on the 45 of the Lions, and they've got it on their 30. But still not bad.
Look at that number. 1 reception tonight for Alfred Jackson. That was early in the ball game.
Well, and he's been out before this game with a bad shoulder. We talked about it, and you wonder if that's affecting him. He doesn't look like he's real perky at this point.
Allen in the pocket. Simon got the ball. Biggest play of the game so far for the BC Lions. G-Roy Simon with the catch. Looked like it might have been an interference call, too, if he didn't make that catch.
Well, they were fighting a little bit, and I think this is the perfect example of what we talked about earlier, Rod, that the ball doesn't have to be perfect, but sometimes your quarterback expects your receiver to make the catch, and this is just a great adjustment. You're right, a little bit of an arm over by the receiver to maybe it could have been called interference by Simon, but you know what? A little bumping back and forth is fair. It's a good catch.
Over 4.5 left, fourth quarter. Millington out of the backfield, puts his head down, and is close to another BC first down.
Yeah, Millington should be licking his chops when he can get going upfield and just have, not certainly to sell any defensive back short, but, you know, at 230 pounds, if he can get some momentum and get that body of his in the right position to take on people, he can create damage.
Hurry up offense here, 2nd and 1. Millington has the first down.
Well, they got that jump going that we talked about 2 drives ago that they seem to have and then stalled, and now, you know, they seem to have it back, and I still don't see that pace. Now they're going in the no huddle or fire offense, and that can often be something where it helps you maintain the momentum you got versus going back in the huddle all the time.
Ryan Thelwell wide left, Thompson wide right. Allen has Thompson, but pickup of only a couple of yards.
Yeah, not one I would celebrate over, but again, staying in it keeps that pressure on the defense. I'm surprised teams don't do this more often. I love this kind of football on offense, you know, because it really can put some pressure on a defense.
The Lions have had to hurry up. The Stampeders have used up so much clock in this second half. There's Simon, has the catch, and he's down to the 10-yard line. Actually, that's Ryan Thelwell.
Well, again, this kind of pattern and scenario allows you to use the sidelines because there's nobody else to pressure you from the inside out. It's outside in. And that ball is thrown, though it wasn't pretty, it's thrown in the right spot to allow Thelwell to adjust to the ball in the air and make the catch.
So 1st and 10. 1st and goal for Allen to Millington, and he's down to the 5. And that will be the 3-minute warning here at BC Place. The Lions look like they might find the end zone here, something Steve Barato has not seen them do tonight. We'll be back in a moment. Mark down the sked for next week. CFL Live, Hamilton, Edmonton. Thursday night, Montreal and Ottawa. Friday night football, the BC Lions in Winnipeg. And then on Sunday, it's the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Saskatchewan Roughriders. The BC Lions, 2nd and goal. Trailing by 11. Allen. Nowhere to go here. But it's a touchdown. the touchdown. It's been a long time coming tonight for the BC Lions offense.
Well, the play doesn't happen unless Damon Allen does what he does as well as anybody over a period of time, and that's keep it alive. The shotgun gives him a quick read right now, but when it starts to break down, he's got to move, and when he moves, his receivers have to come back to him and create a spot. And Claremont keeps working back, sees where that goal line is, and starts to gear himself down and gives, more importantly, Damon Allen a big target to throw to.
A couple of big catches tonight. That one is a memorable one, his first career touchdown. 2:43 to go. Lions will go for 2 to make it a 3-point game. And Millington can't hang on. He was wide open out of the backfield. And the BC Lions will trail by 5 points. Barrato can't believe it. Here it is.
Well, out to the flat right there. The scrape, the other receivers are coming to the inside to create that scrape, if you will. So the pressure can't get to Millington, and it's wide open. I mean, it's coming right at you.
Here's the touchdown toss.
Watch Claremont. He'll just come into the screen at the end. Great awareness by both receiver and quarterback. Thinking ahead, don't get excited. You got to worry about, keep your eye on the clock and the score, immediately signaling for 2 points.
So now, instead of a field goal to tie, BC Lions have to think end zone again. 2:43 left, which still can be a lot of time. If the defense can shut down the Calgary Stampeders here, they could have a good 2 minutes on the clock to operate and try to engineer another drive to pay dirt. Calgary Stampeders with Calvin Anderson on the return will start at their 38-yard line.
And this is no time for the Stamps to get conservative and just worry about, I mean, they have to be smart with the ball, as you always have to, but I think you got to go back to do some of the things you had success with. I mean, you know, throw the ball downfield, create opportunities. Marcus Crandall, tuck it and go. And I mean, there's way too much time at 2:39 for them to think that they can run out the clock and not move the football at the same time.
So suddenly, a ball game again here at BC Place. The handoff to Anderson. And he's got a first down and more. Boy, what a nice option. Get in the huddle and just hand it off to number 32.
Well, you know, it's a great job of executing, too. Watch Barron Simpson come up in the cut right here to his left. And Simpson gets almost leg whipped by accident there and gets hit in the belly. He takes a shot, but, you know, that point of attack, that offensive line, the inner three of Singh, Crysdale, and McNeil do just a great job of pulling people upfield to the outside and allowing Calvin Anderson to get 21 yards on that.
130 yards tonight. Flag on the play. Nowhere to go this time for Anderson. 2 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter.
Well, at the very worst, you want to give the BC Lions the longest field possible. So again, chew that clock down. You don't.
BC, first down.
And Steve Barrato might go ballistic.
Well,
and you wonder if the Lions don't hang on here, if Steve Barrato's life as head coach of the BC Lions has only another 2 minutes.
Well, you know, he said it in his interview. Those things happen to coaches when you're hired, and you know, the longest standing coach anywhere at this point, or darn close to it, is Wally Buono in Calgary. But you know, he has to take the heat for it, but his coaches are responsible, and they better be taking some heat for this as well.
Play action, Crandall to Scott Rengenbald. Two Scots working the play there. The fake handoff to Dybert in the middle. Crandall had loads of time to deliver that football.
They got the two big backs in there.
And they'll measure. It looks like they'll be pretty close. Only a few inches away. This could just
now do you
seal it for the Calgary Stampeders.
You roll the dice a little bit here. We talked about it earlier when they were driving, and they had I think they ended up with a field goal. But is this the time where you a little play action, get it in, and really try to break the back of the Lions? Because that would do it.
But then the field goal opportunity for 8 points again. I think Crandall's thinking right up the middle again.
Oh, I'm sure, and there's no doubt it's a lot easier to talk like that when you're up here.
Yeah, I like that though.
But if you're going to go for somebody's throat, this is a pretty good time.
Second and inches. Right up the middle for Crandall. So again, another chance to eat up the clock even more. Move it closer for Mark McLaughlin.
See, now,
or take it right to the end zone.
That's why I'm not coaching.
I like that style, though.
Yeah, we can like it up here.
I think Steve Barrato would have liked it. They would have tried that. Boy, what a miserable start for the BC Lions. Team trying to attract fans and get the buzz back here in Vancouver. Winning helps, and
yeah, you got to be
1 in 5 doesn't do it.
No, the bells and whistles are great, but you better win some football games and play well at home if you want the fans. That's just, you know, that's just the way it is. Middle linebacker for the Lions, Baron Simpson's getting a pretty good workout today. We've seen him pursue the ball from drops on pass patterns and certainly chase it down laterally. And again, he's stepped up. We talked previously about Baron Simpson moving to Vancouver and his wife settling in this area, making a commitment to the team, and he's a fine player, and he's going to be he's a great addition to the community here.
Well, this may be the biggest play of the game right now for the BC Lions. 2nd and 7, they need a stop. Crandall rolling right again. And a fumble. And BC has it. With 47 seconds to go, can you believe this? And a flag on the play. And if that's against BC,
contact on a receiver, BC number 26.
and it is.
Unbelievable.
First down.
Can you believe that?
You can see Steve Barrato's hair turning gray as we're standing and looking at him, and I feel badly for him because, you know, they finally get something going his way, and once again, a penalty eliminates or erases a good play. Right up in here, that's where the interference takes place. If they called it on that process, there was nothing illegal about that part. It must have taken place earlier. And if it was that way all the way through the play, I don't see where the penalty took place.
1st and 10 from the 18. And what was a fumble looked like a fumble, an interference call, and that could be all she wrote. Certainly tonight for the BC Lions and maybe for Steve Barrato. Well, 30 seconds. 2nd and 2.
I think 32 will get it.
And you think he's going to hang on to it? You know it. So the Lions get the ball back with only a few seconds on the clock.
On this
unless 21 seconds, 3rd and 5. McLaughlin comes on. And long way to go.
Well, and you know, successful field goal by the Stamps. They'll probably take possession. One of the guys that has been so good on kick return for them too is now on the sidelines. So, you know, Willie Hurst. So they'll probably take possession of the ball.
So a timeout. Steve Barrato looked like he was calling it from the sideline. McLaughlin to make this an 8-point lead again. Barrato and the Lions looked like they were ready to pounce on the Stampeders early in this ball game, and You might have to go back to early on when they picked up the fumble and were only able to get that short field goal that kind of set the tone for the BC Lions. They were never able to get into the red zone until late in this ball game.
Yeah, they've showed signs. Again, we talked about that. It's better if they had come away, obviously, with the 7 points, because it might have made a difference in the way Calgary in their second possession were going to come out and manage the football. But they've had their opportunities. But you got to give credit to the Stampeders as well. They've definitely raised the level of their game from what we've seen in all aspects tonight.
And it started at number 1.
Yeah,
Marcus Crandall.
And it always does. You know, you hate to put that kind of pressure on a quarterback, but you know, those who play the game at quarterback understand it comes with it naturally. And you don't ask to be a leader at quarterback, and you don't have to be the guy in the sidelines that jumps around, but you do have to by your actions.
And he lost a couple of weapons in the offseason with Vince Danielson and Bo Richter, but he may have found a new target here tonight.
Mr. Johnson.
Rob Johnson, the rookie.
Well, and that, you know what? That loosens things up for guys like Travis Moore as well, Tyree Davis. People will scout them now and go, oh, yikes, we got another one to cover.
There is still a chance for the Lions. And the catch made by Geroy Simon down to the 40. 11 seconds to go. So now Damon Allen has to find the end zone. And a 2-point convert.
Yeah, and probably, well, depends on where they're looking to go. Maybe 2 plays in this 11 seconds.
To the sidelines. Larry Thompson can't hang on as he was tiptoeing on the sidelines. He was probably thinking about staying in bounds before catching the football.
Yeah. Well, that would have brought them down close to the 20-yard line and certainly had a more legitimate shot on this final play with 4 seconds left. This is going to be an interesting opportunity, if you will, for the BC Lions. The Stamps will be as deep as you can get, and you know Wally Buono was saying, hey, you know what? Back up to where the door opens.
And I know
get deep.
It's only week 6, but a loss here would be devastating to the BC Lions. You look at how it will play out in the West in particular, with Winnipeg over in the West this year, Saskatchewan playing well.
Yeah. Yeah, as they say, keep everything in front of you. Well, that's what they're doing. There's 6 of them back there.
Final play, barring penalty. Damon Allen on the run. Gives it off to Millington. And that's the kind of night it was for the BC Lions, who now have suffered their 5th loss of the season against 1 victory, and the Calgary Stampeders pick up win number 2.
And they certainly elevated their game, and that's what the coaching staff was looking for. That's what they expected. It doesn't always happen immediately, but there's no question Steve Verrato was looking for that kind of performance, emotion and enthusiasm from the BC Lions. He didn't get it. Wally Buono did. And throw in there, much better execution.
The last time Verrato had that kind of pressure in a ball game, his team responded a few weeks ago. They did not tonight. Rob Johnson gets our Sport Check game ball. SportCheck.ca player of the game. The game ball brought to you by SportCheck.ca, Canada's choice for sports. He was outstanding tonight.
Breakout football game for Rob Johnson. Again, he will now have caught the eye of every other defensive coordinator in this league. When they start breaking down the video of the Stampeders, they're going to say, well, you know what? This young guy can play. We better watch him, and we better be very careful, because he can take it deep.
Yeah, don't just worry about 83. Look at 80 as well. The final 23-15 Calgary tonight. It is time now for the TSN Turning Point.
Well, Rob Johnson just had a whale of an evening coming into this game. He had 156 yards. He had 157 in total tonight. And this was as big as it gets at a time when the Stampeders needed a play like that.
They trailed 6-0 in the second quarter, and Johnson broke that, and Stampeders never looked back. Cash donation will be made to the Canadian Coaches Association for the training and development of amateur coaches across Canada on behalf of TSN. Big night for Johnson, big night for Marcus Crandall. Stampeders have win number 2, 23-15, as we send it back to the guys in the studio.
Thanks a lot, Rod. This game looked as though it was going to be a disaster for the Calgary Stampeders right off the bat. Their very first play from scrimmage, A very sloppy turnover on what was supposed to be a trick play on a team that's struggling offensively. They held the Lions to the field goal. They found their feet, and they were clearly the better team tonight, Manny.
That's right, and I think where it started was at the line of scrimmage for the offensive line and that D-line that stepped up last week against Saskatchewan. We talked about at the top of the show, if you can remember back that long, but it was a situation where they controlled the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. They got Calvin Anderson his touches, and to me that was a difference. It established a rhythm offensively, and then, Chris, we talked about it at the half, coming out and setting the tone, those monstrous hits. I think that sent a message to the BC Lions, and it says a lot about the Calgary Stampeders playing on the road, taking it to a team like BC Lions.
Well, Matty, I just thought the Calgary Stampeders were a confident football team. Yes, they started the second half in a physical way, and I think that just was the single biggest thing about the entire game. There's no doubt that they're starting to gel and get together. Their slot backs are starting to perform. They're starting to make some big plays, so I just saw a lot of positive things.
Yeah, indeed. I didn't see so many positive things, unfortunately, with the BC Lions. No. You know, we saw them taking some penalties there at the end of the fourth quarter in a crucial situation. That's the kind of thing that's going to make Steve Barato pull his hair out. And now the question is going to be whether Steve Barato's around next week to pull his hair out. I mean,
there were two plays, guys. There were two plays that kind of encapsulated the BC Lions in the sense that they were still in the football game, and Larry Thompson dropped that ball on the sidelines, and in the very last play of the game, Sean Millington dropped that football. The bottom line is it's the players that have to perform, and I thought those last two plays, and you can see it in their body language, there's something emotionally missing. They don't have the same intensity as some of the other teams we've watched.
Yeah, I agree, and I wonder how much coaching has to do with it, too, you know. I mean, we know how important your coordinators are. BC Lions, unfortunately, have two rookie coordinators, offensive, defensive coordinators, and you can have consistency at head coach. That if your head coach isn't a coordinator himself, then that doesn't really have much of an impact as a player. As a player, it's the guy who draws up the plays that makes the difference. And the BC Lions, I mean, there should be a rule. No rookie coordinators in this league. I mean, it hurts the football team so much. Let them start as an assistant and work their way up.
Well, here's the thing, too. I mean, you talk about what does it take to get emotionally ready. That's up to the player. And that's up to the player that starts early in the week, and they go through that preparation process. And the guy has to know where he has to be before the game starts. And when I see some teams that are so emotionally ready to play football, I don't see that with the BC Lions. And if there's just one thing of consistency after watching some of their games is they're not ready to go.
And Kristen, I'm not a big proponent of coaches motivating players. I think players have got to get motivated. They're professional athletes, and I think that they've got to get themselves prepared. If they're not getting it from the coaches, they've got to take it upon themselves to bring everybody together and break down those films and look at things and ways to get better. And I've been there, done that, and I think that the BC Lions are now going to have to check their whole card and what's taking them so long. Yeah, it's not Steve Barato. It's not it could be the young offensive and defensive coordinators not knowing the game, but the veteran ball players have to step up and they have to take some ownership there and find a way to get it done. And the efforts there, they're just not making plays. We see balls dropped on defensive interception possibilities. We see the balls dropped on receivers putting the ball on the ground. And we see some hard play, but it's just not coming together for one reason or another. It's tough to put your finger on it. If you could bottle it, if you could figure out winning and how to do it every time, everybody be doing it. And that's what's so weird about professional football in this sport is you can't. And so it's a struggle from week to week, and the BC Lions are definitely struggling.
The BC Lions have dropped to 1-5, worst record right now in the CFL, and it doesn't get any easier. Guess where they are next week? In Winnipeg. That's big trouble. No trouble for Rob Johnson. What a night he had for the Calgary Stampeders. We've got more right after this.